And welcome back into Live Now. And we want to get back to the latest discussions on the ongoing conflicts over in the Middle East. We want to take you out now to a live look over Tel Aviv, Israel here, as we continue to track the latest here, as there is some back and forth here when it comes to potential talks between the United States and Iran to meet today. We are getting some information that some Iranian, rather their officials may not be meeting directly here with the United States here. And to talk more about this and just some of the latest that we're getting, we want to bring into the program here Peter Duran with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies onto the program. Peter, so good to be with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what we could expect today over in Qatar, if we could see any sort of potential negotiations taking place between the United States or Iran?
Thanks, Bowen. Well, this is the definition of the question. Couldn't we have done this meeting via email? Right now, with the absence of serious Iranian negotiators to meet Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the president's designated negotiators here, we're really looking at a situation that is the wrong place, the wrong time, and the wrong incentives. The location, Qatar is not a neutral mediator for this discussion. Their interests are not fully aligned with the United States. In fact, they're much more aligned with the Iranian regime. Look at the timing. The IRGC has been acting by attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and we have been constantly reacting. That puts us on the back foot. And finally, look at the incentives. The IRGC just cannot and will not give up its protection racket, its extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz. That's paragraph 4 in the MOU. And until and unless that changes, I really don't have much hope for the continuation of a mostly peaceful ceasefire.
Then I wanted to bring in this X-Post right here from Fox News. It says high-level talks are set to begin in Qatar as U.S. officials work to advance the memorandum of understanding with Iran. Iranian officials say there will be no direct talks with the United States, though an Iranian delegation will be in Qatar for indirect discussions. President Trump says both the diplomatic and military options remain on the table as negotiations continue. Despite the renewed diplomatic push, the ceasefire remains intact. And just to your point earlier, like this could have been an email. If you're going to go to Qatar, but there will be no direct talks, what's the point? What's the message Iran is trying to send right now?
Well, Bowen, the Iranian regime is a superpower when it comes to playing diplomatic and negotiating games. Look what they've done. They've seen the Americans coming into Qatar. They are basically not responding in kind. They're not going to have a face-to-face meeting like we had in Switzerland just about a week ago. And they continue to draw out these negotiations, tapping President Trump along. And why wouldn't they? Incentive structures here are all misaligned. Let's recall, Vice President Vance went to the American public and he said the IRGC would not receive any financial benefits until and unless they changed their behavior. And then the Department of Treasury promptly issued a 60-day waiver on our sanctions, allowing Iran to sell as much oil as it wants anywhere in the world. Their immediate reaction was to start attacking ships right away. So clearly the incentive structure for the Iranian regime is upside down, and that certainly needs to change if we're going to see progress in these negotiations.
Is it in Iran's interest to prolong this or any sort of talks? Is that kind of their game plan? Is there any benefits for them to prolong it, whether that be more economic impacts on the world with the Strait or maybe a chance for them to rebuild? What's your analysis on that?
Well, so long as their oil tankers can sail past our ships, past our former blockade that we had established just outside of the Strait of Hormuz, so long as they can continue to sell oil as they can for at least 60 days under this negotiated ceasefire, quote unquote, as long as they can make money selling oil, then they have an incentive not to take any action, to rearm, to reestablish their military forces, and at will attack ships, thus keeping their extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz in place. It very clearly, President Trump is going to have to use more stick and less carrot in order to put some steel behind his words, because so far the negotiating process is simply not producing the kind of results that J.D. Vance promised the American public.
And where does this leave us now with this memorandum of understanding? Are these points still intact here?
Well, the big one is paragraph 5, and that is the point that says Iran will not have control over the Strait of Hormuz. There will be no tolls or fine or fees, fees. But look what the Iranian regime has done. They're playing word games. They're saying, okay, we're not going to offer extract any tolls. You're just going to have to pay us insurance to sail past us. You're just going to have to file with our office that will give you a go, no go signal if you want to sail freely. That's the definition of extortion. We cannot allow that to continue. But until we put some military muscle behind our words, the Iranian regime will continue to play this on again, off again game, using military force, attacking ships, and then returning to the kabuki theater of diplomatic negotiations. This cycle will continue until we inject more American military power into this space.
And what about these talks being held in Qatar? We've seen talks being held in Pakistan. Does the location of where these talks really play a factor here when it comes to these negotiations?
Well, Bowen, that's why I said this is the wrong place for these negotiations. I mean, think about it. We have a terror-supporting regime, the Iranian Republic, talking with in the location of another terror-supporting regime, Qatar. Qatar has not been fully aligned with American interests. They've been supporting Hamas in its conflict with Israel. So the fact that we're going to Qatar in the first place, I think that gets us on the wrong foot. The fact that the Iranian regime is playing negotiating games with Jared Kushner and Steve Woodcock, that exacerbates the problem. And the fact that all we can hope for at the end of this week is perhaps to start talking about the technical details of Iran's future nuclear enrichment program, that really sets a low bar. And that's why I think our expectations should be very low for any serious breakthroughs this week in Qatar.
And talking about the U.S. envoy that's there with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, we usually saw Vice President J.D. Vance tag along for any sort of negotiations. Is there any reason why he is not tagging along here with this envoy over to Qatar?
Well, if there was the prospect of a major breakthrough, it would not shock me that J.D. Vance would be the first one on a plane to travel to Qatar. But again, because we have seen this on-again, off-again game that the IRGC has been playing, whereby they attack ships and then they return to the negotiating table and they flip the switch over and over again, there really isn't a lot of political value for J.D. Vance to be so far out in front of these negotiations if they have the prospect of blowing up, so to speak, in our face. Once again, the United States needs to apply more military pressure and more economic pressure in order to force the IRGC and its political representatives to really negotiate in good faith. So far, we haven't seen any of that.
And now we're also hearing from the Israeli defense minister saying Monday that Israel could find itself in a war with Iran, quote, within 2 days if Iran fires missiles in Israeli territory. Is there a threat right now from Iran to fire at Israel?
Well, there is always going to be a threat, but that's really where I think the fundamental flaw in this MOU was made by allowing the Iranian side to link fighting between Hezbollah and Israel to our overall negotiations about the future of Iran's nuclear program and its control of the Strait of Hormuz. We now have a very complicated negotiating picture. It would not surprise me at all if the first message that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff got from the Iranian side was, well, look at the problems in Lebanon. We're not going to begin to negotiate with you until you force Israel not to disarm a terrorist group known as Hezbollah over there in Lebanon. So again, I think all of this should lower our expectations for any major breakthrough in Qatar. And that's because it's the wrong place, wrong time, and we have the wrong incentive structure set up right now with the IRGC.
And then speaking of Lebanon and Israel, they remain in negotiations over the Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. Could we see any progress made here when it comes to the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah units over in Lebanon? I know there was even suggestions before of getting the Lebanese military involved if they want the Hezbollah terrorist group out of their country. What are we seeing in developments there?
Well, this is where Secretary Rubio certainly deserves a lot of credit. What he has done is quite impressive, frankly. For many years, the Lebanese government, which is different than Hezbollah, in many ways, Hezbollah has operated as its own parallel government inside of Lebanon. But for many years, the Lebanese government was reticent to actually tackle Hezbollah and to attempt to disarm them. What Secretary Rubio has lined up is a coordinating mechanism between Israel and the official Lebanese government to actually take seriously the question, how is it we are going to finally disarm this terrorist group that continues to not only destabilize Lebanon, but attack innocent civilians in Israel? That's a major breakthrough. For now, Israel is maintaining a military buffer zone that would prevent Hezbollah from attacking civilian cities and settlements in Israeli territory. And we have seen Lebanese troops take to the streets to dispel some rather violent organized protest by Hezbollah. All of this is positive. It is a significant signal to the Iranian regime that the old days of playing games with Hezbollah may be coming to an end. If there is one silver lining here, it is certainly the excellent diplomatic work that Secretary Rubio has done in forging this new alignment between the official Lebanese government and Israel.
Peter Duran, we covered a lot of ground here. Are there any other final points that you would like to make here while we still have you?
Keep an eye out for the U.S. Navy. Very clearly, we're going to have to increase our naval presence in the Strait of Hormuz. We should not be conceding the demining operations to the Iranian regime. This is a regime that only respects strength. And I think if we flex more naval muscle in the Strait of Hormuz, we will see the Iranian regime much more compliant at the negotiating table.
Peter Duran, thank you so much for hopping on and breaking this all down. We always appreciate your time here.
Thank you, Bowen, and happy 250th to the United States this week.
Happy 250th. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. With that, you're taking a live look there over Beirut, Lebanon, where Qatar officials say no high-level talks between the U.S. and Iran will take place. We will see how this all shakes out there here today. With that, we do have to slide away for a quick 2-minute break, but when we come back, more coverage ahead.